What's going on, beautiful people? Y'all, go and join my Golden Visions FX Academy chat. I got something special for my new members that join. I'll be dropping it later on in the chat. You'll be able to download it for free. This chat eventually I'll be dropping some signals in the group, just some valuable resources and just building a Forex community. So y'all join. We gonna go up from here. I appreciate y'all.
Beyond the arc. Texas coming off a loss Sunday to UConn, and talking to head coach Rodney Terry, he spoke numerous times to us, or mentioned numerous times, he wants to see a heightened level of urgency from his team coming out of the gate here today. They just hit 31% of their shots in the first half and getting down big to UConn and fell by 11. Tramon Mark in the starting five yet again as Texas has the ball first. An early touch for Caden Shedrick, working on Emmanuel Shamanga. And can't get the roll. This is an Aggie team with length and experience. Christian Cook, Robert Carpenter, both seniors averaging 13 a game, but Deontay Bostic, season high 17 in a big win for New Mexico State Saturday at the pit over New Mexico. Shedrick gets the block for Texas, and on the run, Mark gets fouled.
First couple of possessions for Texas, you had already got ball movement, which Coach Terry was harping on, and then getting the defensive stop and getting out in transition was getting big.
Same starting five we've seen the last few games for the Longhorns. Arthur Kaluma averaging just over 14 points and 8 rebounds a game. Mark from up top buries the three. The assist to Trey Johnson. So they get their first assist 45 seconds in. They did not get their first assist Sunday until after 19 minutes had elapsed.
Yeah, and talking to Coach Terry earlier, we asked him about that, and he said, "Well, it's hard to get an assist if you're not making shots." So,
and they're expecting Mark to warm up from three, coming off an ankle injury and missed the first few games of the season. Here it is here.
Yeah, Trey just, he's going to garner a ton of attention, and putting the ball on the deck and creating for others will free himself up later on in the game.
Caden Shedrick, after getting a tip of the New Mexico State pass, then got fouled by Emmanuel Shamanga, 7-foot graduate. This Mexico State team, again, half-size Carpenter and Filipovich in the starting five, stand at 6'7". Under 10 to shoot. Mark double, pulls up, and it's 5-0. Tramon Mark with all the points so far.
He's coming out aggressive. You like to see it as a coach. And Mark is yet to leave his mark on the game so far, and we love to see that, or Texas fans would love to see that.
Christian Cook buries the jumper. New Mexico State on the board. Rodney Terry mentioned Mark specifically to us, talking about the heightened level of urgency he wants. Said he's been practicing with more pace and urgency since the loss on Sunday. Kaluma drives, gets the roll. Longhorns 3 of 4 from the floor to start out.
Yeah, Coach had his hands up. We were watching walkthrough today, and Kaluma's scouting report was he was going to shot fake it and drive it right. So Coach a little bit upset with his team on that one.
Deontay Bostic mentioned the 17 points Saturday in a big win at heated rival New Mexico. Also 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Buries the jumper to get his team within 3. Mark looks for his second 3. Yes! With so much anticipation for the arrival of Tramon Mark, averaging 16 a game at Arkansas last year. This is his hottest offensive stretch in a Texas uniform.
Well, he's capable. He was, I believe, Arkansas's leading scorer when he transferred in, and so they know he's capable, and so it's just a matter of time for him getting ready and getting hot.
Pope misfires from 3. Mark wants his third 3. Rebound almost came back to him, but Cook gets to it first. Bostic drives on Shedrick. Shedrick stays with him. Bostic tries again. Gets the roll.
Pretty good defense there by Texas. But as the old saying in basketball, good offense beats good defense every day.
Talking to New Mexico State head coach Jason Hooten, he's gotten consistent scoring from Cook and Carpenter. Wanted that third score, and Bostic for the second straight game, playing well offensively. Shedrick had to make a tough grab off the Kaluma pass and is able to lay it in for his first two.
Nice little wrinkle there, a little big to big screen. Bigs aren't used to guarding the ball screen.
Talked about urgency and a quicker Texas pace. They've shown it so far, although Bostic keeping his team in the game early. He has 6 already.
New Mexico State's come out and they've made it a point to get downhill and put pressure on the rim. Texas so far, the bigs have kind of bailed them out a few times, but they're definitely putting some pressure on them.
Bostic got his hand on the ball. Rather, that was Dottie Jackson. Jackson with the ball now up top. Drives on Shedrick. Shedrick picks up the foul before the shot. So Texas showing that quicker pace and sense of urgency, but Deontay Bostic helping to keep him.
The coach earlier, and he said that, he jokingly said it's tough to get assists when you're not making shots, and it's very true, but at the same time, it's doing what you have to do to get those assists is what's been important, and Texas has come out and shown that, and they're hitting shots.
Johnson scoreless, but with 2 of the 3 assists for the Longhorns so far. Kendall Weaver in the contest, and instant impact as he stays in front of Christian Cook, who turns the ball over.
For Texas, you've seen signs of things they need to get better at to be a dominant team. You've seen flashes of them being very good. You saw that in the North Carolina State game offensively, and then there's flashes of them being very dominant on the defensive end. It's just a matter of time to get that put together so that they go in the league play ready to go.
Trey Johnson misfires, but Texas will get a fresh 20. Rodney Terry, 3rd season as Texas head coach. Longhorns coming off those back-to-back NCAA tournament appearances, including the Elite Eight 2 seasons ago. Said he's worked more on his offense in practice than perhaps before the loss Sunday against UConn, and so far so good. Longhorns 6 of 10. Arthur Kaluma with 4.
Yeah, Coach Terry's an old school coach, and all those guys are going to rely on their defense first. So it's no surprise that offense got a little stagnant, but I don't think he's panicking at all. He's got plenty of firepower out there.
And Texas defense has been solid all year, allowing just 63 points a game coming in. Christian Cook pulls up, tough shot around Weaver, his 2nd field goal. Ze'rik Onyema also on the floor for Texas, replacing Shedrick. Kaluma finds Onyema with position, and with the left hand lays it in.
Very solid possession there by Texas. The Aggies came out blitzing the ball screen, trapping the ball screen, so find the open man and then find the big on the inside.
I mentioned at the top, New Mexico State allowing just 38% shooting to opponents, but Texas hot offensively here in the first 6 minutes. And a dive for the basketball. It'll go to Texas. Onyema, the Longhorn on the floor.
Yeah, on that possession, there was some dribble weave action, and then they trapped the ball screen, and so Kaluma found Onyema for the easy 2.
I don't think we're expecting Onyema to play a lot of minutes in games this season, but when he is on the floor, just how important is he when Shedrick is on the bench as Trey Johnson gets his first 2?
I think it's very important, and Coach Terry talked about that as well, as he'd like to have what he calls a brute. So Onyema is a bigger body that he can throw around in there. It gives the Texas defense a little different perspective, and so if he can earn himself more minutes, it only makes them better.
Cook. Short this time. Kaluma gets the rebound. Onyema 6'9", 235. Coming in just under 10 minutes a game. That's the screen for Julian Larry. And then Onyema finds Kaluma. Fades, scores off the glass. I think the sense of purpose offensively is there for Texas. 69% shooting, and they're doubling up the Aggies.
Yeah, right now they're putting pressure on the rim with the passing and the cutting, which is what Coach Terry has harped on as well. But putting pressure on the rim is more than just dribbling it, trying to beat your opponent off the dribble. Passing is probably the most efficient part of basketball.
Robert Carpenter, the Aggies' leading scorer, misfires from three. Trey Johnson buries the three in transition off the Larry assist. New Mexico State calls timeout. 5 assists in the early going for Texas, and they are...
So, you know, if there's any critic saying that he's only putting up big numbers against, you know, lesser talent, he put those numbers to bed.
Rodney Terry also says, look, he's obviously a great scorer, but what people may not know about him, he has a very high basketball IQ. Can see quickly how teams are not just guarding him, but guarding the entire Texas squad on offense.
And I think that's why he's so efficient offensively. He really doesn't shoot a ton of bad shots.
Nick Cody gets the tip of the pass. An Aggie turnover. Julian Larry will set things up for Texas. 13-point edge against the New Mexico State team coming off its best win of the year. Kendall Weaver tripled and miscommunication with Cody, a turnover. Weaver thought Cody would remain in the corner. Just the second Longhorn turnover, 8 minutes in. It's the Texas team averaging just over 9 turnovers a game, one of the best in the nation. Cook runs it up over Onyema, and Cook has 6 in the early going.
It's a nice little set by New Mexico State getting their score, easy look. Right now, New Mexico State is struggling a little bit. They're switching some of these ball screens, but their guards are a little too small to handle the big from the inside.
How about the ball movement there? Larry to Onyema, and he finds the freshman Cody for the flush. Nick Cody's first points as a Longhorn. Much expected out of the talented freshman. Well, Texas active so far. 2 players on the floor. Weaver with it, then slips. Wanted a foul, didn't get one. Instead, it's a turnover. The ball movement has been there since the opening tip for Texas.
And not be able to put the ball in the basket. So it's all about getting acclimated in the Coach Terry's system, learning where his shots come from, and being comfortable. But he's off to a great start so far.
He's a point away from 1,250 in his career, a career which began at the University of Houston. 25-12. Longhorns are 11 of 15 from the floor, 73%. Again, Aggies opponents coming in at 38%, top 20 in the nation. 10 to shoot for the Aggies. Robert Carpenter has that range, but well off on his second three-point attempt of the day. Bostic, though, gets the offensive board. Mark got his hand on the ball, and then Weaver reaches in, trying to take it from Carpenter. Jason Hooten back to the Lone Star State, where he was the head coach at Sam Houston for some time, 13 years, averaging over 20 wins a campaign in Huntsville. Moved over to Las Cruces for the 2023 season. He was excited about his team's trajectory. He says, got more on my players this year than last year. He's always been a defensive-minded coach and always has been very successful since his time at Sam Houston State.
Yeah, he's done a good job so far. He inherited a program that obviously has some work to do, but you know, his success at Sam Houston, I think will rub off here at New Mexico State.
Bostic gets the steal from Larry, but then unable to complete the finish on the other end. Now 2-on-1. Alley-oop to Weaver.
Weaver climbed the ladder on that one.
Emphatic dunk for his first 2, and the Longhorns have hit their last 7 shots. Missed the start. Rodney Terry and the staff are wanting. After getting down early on Sunday against a UConn team that was number 2 in the country at one point. Shot clock down to 2. Carl Sharonfont got that tipped away. Play continues after Mark got the ball as the shot clock expired.
Mark can really guard. I was watching that possession. I've watched him lately. He can really guard the ball.
Played under Kelvin Sampson at Houston for a couple of years where you're not focused on defense, you're not getting on the floor. Nice feed, and then Shedrick did everything but finish. Aggies at 40% shooting so far. So we approach the 9-minute mark in the first half. 4 more games for Texas before SEC played the games, including this one. And there's Mark with a defensive effort again in the hands. Before that, his assist to Kendall Weaver for the LEU.
Weaver hit a little booster on that one and finished it.
No, wait, Weaver's listed at 6'3". It's about your height. Could you have been able to go up in your day and flush that down?
I've been known to climb the ladder once or twice in my career.
There you go. Bostic well off. Texas' solid defensive effort continues. Pope now runs the point with Larry on the bench. Texas with a big lead, and Trey Johnson just 2 points so far. Pope pulls up, in and out.
It's a little bit of that ISO basketball that Coach Terry probably doesn't want to see. We'd like to see the ball get reversed a little more if you're Pope, and get other guys involved.
Carpenter challenged Shedrick, and Shedrick won the battle. Carpenter still scoreless. Their leading scorer coming in. Mark off balance with the left hand. The Kaluma follow won't count. A foul called first. As Mark helped up, will go to the line.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge as Pope goes over to talk to Coach Frank Haith. That's the challenge when you get this in the transfer portal. You get guys who, were at Oregon State that probably was a good shot for him. And right now, that's not what the coaches are looking for. They have no problem with him shooting it. They just, again, understanding where your shots are coming from, which ones are good shots for the team, which ones aren't.
And the big theme in talking to the staff today was, look, a lot of things went wrong Sunday. Against a UConn team, by the way. I mentioned they were number 2 in the country at one point. They go to the Maui Invitational and go 0-3 in 3 days. But since then, wins over Baylor and Texas. So those losses kind of added to their focus. Again, the theme was, I think the loss on Sunday will add to Texas's focus in urgency. And obviously that's been the case so far. Trey Johnson called for the foul.
Yeah, and urgency, when we say, Coach says urgency, it's not about just guys running around, with like a chicken with their head cut off. Urgency is cutting as hard as you can when you have to cut. If you're showing on the screen, showing on that screen hard, making sure you're chasing shooters, all of those are sense of urgency.
Another thing was, look, we have 3 months until March, and you talked about it with Jordan Pope. There's a lot of transfers on this team. You look at last year, and a big example of a lot of players having to come together as the season went along. And in the second round of the NCAA tournament, 1-possession game against Tennessee late. We're still only in mid-December. All Texas so far at home. UConn just 31% shooting in the first half Sunday, but so far tonight, Justin, 12 of 18. Trey Johnson's 2 of 3, but a total team effort on the offensive end.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, spending some time on the offensive side of the ball. Coach Terry didn't like how the UConn game went, decided to spend a little more time, and you're seeing a little bit of that of that time they put in out here.
And New Mexico State may be 4-5, but winning in overtime at the pit over New Mexico, a Lobo team that has wins over UCLA and USC. Also took UNLV down to the wire on the road in late November. Shot clock down to 3 against the New Mexico State zone. Jordan Pope misfires from 3, but Shedrick chases down the rebound. Johnson pulls up in the short corner. Yes.
And New Mexico State came out with a little wrinkle, try to steal what you call steal a possession by going zone. And, one thing about a zone, it's hard to rebound out of it. So Texas did a good job hitting that offensive glass.
It is a 17-2 run. Cook was hot early, well off from 3. Aggies are 0 of 7 from beyond the arc. They had 14 threes in their win Saturday in Albuquerque. That's a Tramon Mark turnover. Trey Johnson, his 3rd field goal off the offensive rebound.
Well, Trey makes this look easy, but he catches that ball, rips it with speed, and then gets into his jump shot. That is a really hard shot to make, but he makes it look routine.
Nate Shimanga with the bucket, Emmanuel's brother, and it's Nate's first 2. Four more tune-ups before SEC play for Texas. Arkansas Pine Bluff will be here Sunday afternoon. Johnson with the right hand, the runner.
Well, he gave him the too small, the too small sign, and he's not entirely wrong. 6'6" and you know, shoot over the top of anybody. In fact, in the UConn game, I was impressed at how he was getting shots off over Caravan and the other tall freshman that was guarding him.
Zadie Jackson gets his first two. Now Johnson with Harris 2 inches shorter covering it. Aggies still in the zone as we're under 6 minutes to go first half. Kaluma for three. Got it. Quietly, he has hit just under 50% of his tries from beyond the arc this season.
Yeah, his shot he's got a really good shot, but he takes his time on it. So, you know, he's shooting wide open shots a lot of times. He doesn't force them. If the defense closes out, then he just shot fakes and goes by him. So he's got a really good pace to his game.
Aggie turnover. Kaluma's 4 of 4 from the floor today.
Yeah, the ball movement. Coaches talked about it. You got to have some ball movement. You love to see it reverse 2 or 3 times before you take a shot. And Texas is definitely listening to what coach has been telling them.
So it's 8 assists for Texas. Their season high 21 in a win over Chicago State. This is a much better opponent tonight. Kaluma long range three. Yes.
Call that a heat check. Definitely a heat check for Kaluma.
This is the best Texas has looked all year?
I think so, offensively, for sure. It's hard to tell defensively, but, you know, offensively, they spent time on it. Everything that someone is good at, they spent time doing it.
Onyema got his hands on the basketball. Here comes Johnson. No look. Weaver hangs, gets fouled. All Longhorns, that time off the turnover. Trey Johnson leads the way in transition, and Weaver to the line. This is where Weaver struggled this season. He was 74% from the stripe last year, 48% coming into today. Being asked to do more this season, now coming off the bench with Tramon Mark starting, but still a valuable member of the Texas rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his role is coming off the bench and being a spark plug and, you know, putting pressure on the offense and the defensive side. I think that's where he excels and shines.
Makes one of two. The Texas lead 24. They give the lane to the rim for Bostic and then a goaltend. Really a rare defensive lapse for Texas so far today.
Yeah, Onyema came off that ball screen with his back turn, which was interesting. Coach Terry let him hear about that on the baseline.
Trey Johnson exits.
You watch New Mexico State's in this, you know, call it soft pressure, and what they're really trying to do is slow down the Texas offense and make them take a little more time before they get into their offensive sets. So there's a little more pressure for them to execute later in the shot clock.
The shot clock already down to 10. Pope catch and shoot three. Weaver gets to it first. He'll fire and connect. 5 points, 3 boards in the first half for the junior from Arlington, Texas. Filipovich gets fouled. All Texas from the opening tip. And Valance scoring for the long.
We would get an assist, speak of assists.
This is the first meeting between the Horns and Aggies since those 2 games you played in versus New Mexico State. And all Longhorns, what a response from the disappointing loss Sunday against UConn, getting down early. Rallied in the second half, is still fell by 11. Texas 68% from the floor. Holding New Mexico State without a 3. They had 14 on Saturday. Jordan Pope gets the steal. No one in front of him. Pope lays it in.
You know, for a lot of teams, offense feeds the defense. And so, you know, if you get it rolling offensively, then you're competing harder on the defensive end. It goes together. So I think some of Texas, it's a lot more pressure on your defense.
Tough move, Christian Cook, preseason All-Conference USA, who can score in bunches, had 27 in the win at New Mexico on Saturday. He's up to 8 to lead his team. Johnson, catch and shoot 3. Carpenter for 3. Pope passes up the three. Instead from the free throw line. Wanted a foul, didn't get one. But 4 quick points for the junior from Oakley, California.
That was a good drive by him. I think Coach would like for him to take him that shot, though.
Devon Pryor on the floor for Texas. 3rd game of the season, coming off a left ankle injury. Zadie Jackson drives, gets the roll, and a foul. Before that, Jordan Pope with the drive and his 2nd field goal.
It's a good job. Little shot fake. Get to a spot in the mid-range.
Zadie Jackson drawing the foul on Pope.
Yeah, the best way to find yourself to the bench is to give up a drive. Kind of kills the momentum a little bit.
You mentioned earlier how Jordan Pope, he's always been a good scorer, but Rodney Terry has always been a defensive-first coach. How hard of a transition can that be for someone who's put up a lot of points and was the team leader in scoring, coming to an entirely new system?
I think it's tough, right? You come into a system that is, defensive-minded. You're used to, taking more shots and probably, don't have to be on point on the defensive end, and so. If he can get himself to where he just plays position defense, he's not the biggest guy out there, so playing the position defense and taking care of business on that side will keep you on the floor, and then you can get in the rhythm on the offensive end.
Pope's approaching 1,000 points in his career, averaged 15 points a game his 2 seasons in Corvallis with Oregon State. A 47-22 lead. Arkansas Pine Bluff here Sunday, then New Orleans and Northwestern State, 2 Southland Conference opponents before the new year, before SEC play begins in College Station. How about getting your new conference started with a game against your former rivals? Been over a decade since they've had a conference game, and that game in College Station on January the 4th.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. The Aggies, the Texas Aggies, are ranked, and so Texas, SEC is not going to do Texas any favors opening up their first 5 games.
Yeah, I read there were some complaints in College Station that students wouldn't be back for that game. I still think that game is going to be packed and loud. Sharon Fon steps on the baseline at turnover.
Yeah, Texas A&M is going to have. If Texas is coming to the town, someone will be at that game.
Arthur Kaluma, 12 points on 5 of 5 shooting to lead the Longhorns. Balanced effort so far for Texas. 48 points on a New Mexico State team, allowing opponents coming in to hit just 38% of their shots, top 20 in the nation. 10 to shoot. Kaluma over Carpenter. First miss. Onyema, offensive board, and the putback. 50 on the board in the first half for the Longhorns.
Now, Onyema bailed him out on that possession because it was very ISO-oriented. Things that Coach Terry wants to stay away from. And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do. You got guys that are, they're good at what they do, and you want them to have confidence, but then they got to understand working the offense, getting the ball moving. And, when it's time to go ISO, you'll go ISO, and most of that time will be with a guy named Trey Johnson.
In your years at Texas, of course, you coached under Rick Barnes, Rodney Terry, a longtime assistant under him, and an assistant when you were here. Do you remember kind of those tough losses and then how you and your team responded as a group?
Yeah, the worst thing you want to do is play a team that's coming off a tough loss. Mm-hmm. And so,
Texas
had that against UConn. They were coming off 3 losses, and obviously they got the win against Baylor, but they were challenged. And New Mexico State is running into the same thing. The worst time to play a good team is after a loss.
4 to shoot. Filipovic from the corner buries the 3, his first points.
I think he's turned down a few threes. I think for New Mexico State, they've gotten so committed to running their offense, they're turning down some shots. I think, with Texas switching, how aggressive they are on the ball screens, they've got shots if they kick them out to the poppers.
The first 3 for the Aggies today. Foul call will send Texas to the line. Jason Hooten was very high on Peter Filipovic. Missed a month of practice due to a herniated disc, but averaging just under 10 points a game, also 7.5 rebounds a game. Led Maine in points and rebounds last season. This is a big New Mexico State team. That size could pose trouble to opponents in Conference USA. An underrated league. Sam Houston State, Jason Hooten's former school where he coached at for 13 seasons, moving from the WAC to CUSA before the 2023 campaign. Louisiana Tech favored to win the league. Former Texas Tech Red Raider Daniel Bacho anchoring the Bulldogs down low. Western Kentucky as well. A lot of returners. CUSA should be fun this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's talent spread all throughout college basketball, which, you know, I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I look forward to March Madness. I think it's going to be another good one.
Well, speaking of tough leagues, the SEC, we'll talk much more about this in the second half, but by far the best league in the nation in non-conference play. 14-2 against the ACC and the SEC-ACC Challenge, but that doesn't even tell the full story. They're the undisputed best conference in the nation so far this year. After the scrum on the floor, it was a nice effort. Jacoby Osborne was able to find Filipovic for two. And Rodney Terry takes his use it or lose it timeout with 26.3 seconds to go in the first. Is packed, especially one of the best environments for college basketball.
I think they did a great job. You know, there's less people in here, but it still feels, you know, when the crowd gets up, it still feels like a full crowd. So kudos to the Moody Sitter for the design.
They also have the screens that cover the seats in the upper deck that keeps a lot of the sound around the court. Final shot Texas can take here in the first half. Shot clock off. A dominant performance since the opening tip for Texas. 7 seconds. Tramon Mark for three. Short. Kaluma has time. Now has to hurry. Gets it up. And no good. Still, Trey Johnson and Texas. All Longhorns in the first half. They'll take a 25-point lead into the locker room. 52.
You've got this game and three more, and then you get into conference play. And so, you know, establishing an identity. I think Coach Terry is semi-happy with their defensive identity. So it's time to work on the offensive identity and get ready for league play.
Aggies did shoot 50% in the first half, but they were just 1 of 8 from beyond the arc. Just got to the free throw line once and turned the ball over 9 times. Underway in the second half is Peter Filipovic. Makes his way to the hoop and lays it off the glass.
Yeah, he's the one that's got to get going if they're going to be competitive in this game, and Carpenter as well.
Filipovic with 7. Robert Carpenter scored in double figures every game coming in, but leading scorer for the Aggies coming into tonight scoreless.
It's a tough matchup for him. You know, you got our bigs, or Texas bigs are pretty substantial, and I don't think he can take any of the guards off the dribble. So, you know, trying to mix up some assignments for New Mexico State will help him get going a little bit.
After the three-point miss, Trey Johnson stayed with Zoddy Jackson, forced the miss. Longhorns with the ball again. Comfortable lead after a hot start to this one. Kaluma feeds Shedrick. Lost it going up, but a foul. Caden Shedrick to the line for the first time today.
Yeah, right now Texas, you know, for the entirety of the game, they kept it pretty simple when it comes to offense. They're taking what the defense gives them. Right there, they high showed on the ball screen, hit the slip, and then it's time to make a play out of that.
Rodney Terry wanting Caden Shedrick to improve on that free throw shooting. You see 64%. He was 74% last year. Both he and Kendall Weaver uncharacteristic slumps from the line really since the season began. Weaver under 50%, hit over 70% from the stripe last year. That can be key come SEC play.
Yeah, very key. Free throw shooting for any team that wants to compete has got to be a pretty good free throw shooting team, especially in the SEC where most games are going to be, 2-3 possessions.
A 24-point Texas lead. Arkansas Pine Bluff Sunday, then New Orleans and Northwestern State, both out of the Southland Conference before SEC play begins January 4th at Texas A&M. Filipovic for three, connects 5 in the second half for the grad transfer from Hungary.
Yeah, as I said before, I think he was turning some of those shots down in the first half. He's coming out a little more aggressive, trying to shoot the ball, and that's what you got to do. Their mismatch is not taking them off the dribble. It's making Texas extend on the defensive end and knocking down shots.
Pope keeps control of the ball, fades away for 2. 6 for the junior, came in at 8 a game. Filipovic drives this time, too hard. Offensive rebound by Emmanuel Shimanga. Filipovic misses that 3. Johnson on the run. Filipovic called for the block. How important is it for Jordan Pope to get more involved offensively?
Very. He came in highly talented. Still trying to find his way, but it's very important for him. I think guard play for the starters with Pope, Johnson, and Mark. Those guys got to get rolling. Guard play is so essential in today's game, and so the more guards that you have that are doing well, the better you're going to be.
Hitting just 40% of his shots coming in, 3 of 7 today. Nice feed there to Sheldrick. Rodney Terry will take that.
It's a great pass by him. And I think you said shooting 40%. A lot of it is coming from he tends to get himself into harder shots than he has to take. Take that first shot, make the game easy on yourself.
Ten to shoot for Cook. Filipovic, another attempt. This time Sheldrick stayed in front. Out of bounds to Texas. Nice feed from Jordan Pope to Caden Sheldrick.
Yeah, that's a good feed by him. Again, off the ball screen action. Sheldrick I think that's his second straight possession where he come off the ball screen and hit him for a layup right there, and the last time he was fouled. So got something good working for him.
Texas led by 25 at the break. Still the lead 3 minutes into the second half. That feed from Kaluma a bit too strong for Pope.
It's a great little set they ran there. Couldn't finish it out.
6 Texas turnover. They came in averaging just over 9 turnovers a game. One of the best marks in the country. Ten of the shot clock. Cook for 3. Yes. His first of the night. Pope this time finds Mark for 3, who got fouled. It falls. 4-point play opportunity.
Great drive, great kick. Tough shot. Gonna get 4. Is it 4 the hard way or the easy way?
Well, the hard way is he gets knocked to the ground after burying that 3 from the corner. So how key is this with Tramon Mark? Mentioned coming off the injury that occurred just weeks before the season was to start. Didn't arrive on campus until mid-August, having to finish his degree at Arkansas. Scored the first 8 points for Texas. And going for the 4-point play, up to 14, one of his best offensive games in a Texas uniform.
Yeah, he's looking good. Looking good. And anytime you can get confidence is key in this sport. Most like in all sports, confidence is key, but especially in this one. It doesn't matter where you get the confidence from. You just want to get it. And so right now he's kind of rolling right now.
Turnover to Mexico State is their 10th. It's a New Mexico State program with a proud tradition. 23 NCAA tournament appearances. One we saw in the first half. Your highlight, you, Kevin Durant and company, knocking out the Aggies first round of the 2007 NCAA tournament. A couple of seasons ago, they upset UConn in the first round, led by Teddy Allen, former Longhorn Timmy Allen's brother. Johnson, tough shot around the rim and out. But the Longhorns will get another chance. All Longhorns since the opening tip. Jason Hooten's Aggies have come up against a Texas team quite focused after their loss Sunday to UConn. The one non-conference win percentage. Look at that second box. 27-3 against the ACC. 12-2 against the Big 12. And right now, 5 teams in the AP top 10, the most in conference history.
And both of those conferences are great. They're great conferences. It shows how dominant the SEC has become on the basketball side of things. And, every night out is going to be a challenge. The good thing is every night out you're going to have a chance to put a resume-building win on your resume. So, there's a silver lining in everything. And for Texas, the opening SEC play, they've got challenges, but also chances to build their resume.
Every team in the SEC is in the top 67 in KenPom, and 15 of the 16 teams in the top 61 of the net, which is the main ranking the NCAA uses. South Carolina is 94. Jaden Harris gets his first points from beyond the arc. New Mexico, 4 threes, 3 of them coming this half. And that's why, again, Rodney Terry spoke this week after the loss to UConn. This team needs to be even more focused, play with more of a sense of urgency. After today's game, just 3 more left before SEC play begins. Yeah,
no coach wants to look ahead, right? And you got to take it one game at a time. But at the same time, you also see what's ahead. And the SEC, as I said before, is not going to do you any favors. The open up league play with those 5 opponents that they'll face is, got to be one of the toughest openings in the country.
I think Joe Lenardi has a nice pass. Larry to Kaluma for the flood. I think Joe Lenardi, his last ESPN bracketology, had 12 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament. Most brackets you see 11 or 12 out of the 16.
Yeah, I think there's probably going to be a couple of under 500 teams that make it, out of the SEC. So, and they'll do most likely very well in the NCAA tournament.
If the unbalanced schedule will mean you'll have to look closer than just conference record, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a team that goes 7-11 in the SEC winds up making it to the big dance. Shedrick, heady play, but too long off the follow. Texas still up comfortably, 63-40, just over 6 minutes into the second half. Harris wound up being a nice miss because Carpenter was there for his first 2.
Yeah, Mark got caught lazy on the backside. I think it was Kaluma that went for the block. Maybe Shedrick, but you got to come down there and box out on the backside.
Looking like a Texas win, but with New Mexico State getting easier looks offensively. Rodney
took those teams off that builds resumes, and I think that's what Coach Terry would preach to his guys. And you can't be intimidated by it. You got to embrace it and be ready to go in there and play.
There's no break. Maybe a few weeks ago, you see Missouri is here, January 21st. You thought, well, maybe that'd be a little easier, and maybe it will be. But again, Missouri at home, whipping #1 Kansas just a few days ago. Julian Larry, second assist the last couple of minutes, finding Kaluma for the dunk.
Larry's a really good passer, getting downhill, creating for others. I think he's found his niche with his team.
Team leader in assists coming in. He has 3 so far tonight. So the SEC teams in the AP top 25. Again, 5 in the top 10. First time that's ever happened. Then you have Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. So 9 teams right now in the AP top 25. It will be a gauntlet for every team come league play, which starts in just a few weeks.
Yeah, I thought SEC was a football conference.
Well, it's that too, but it is a basketball league, top to bottom. Christian Cook continues his hot second half. How much, though, does Texas's experience come into play? Obviously, they're still getting used to playing with each other. We have a lot of veterans who have played those tough league schedules, be it the SEC or the Big 12.
Well, you're going to need experience when it comes to league play. The good thing is they have it. The bad thing is everyone else in the SEC has it. So, if you want experience, you create some experience as well with scheduling the UConns, going on those preseason tournaments. Those are how coaches create experiences. And you speak about UConn, they created that experience. They went through a 3-game loss. They weren't assuming they were going to lose those games. But it's better to do it now than come March have a learning experience. At that point, you learn and it's over.
Even look at last year. Of course, Texas a Big 12 member then, but good non-conference record overall, but losses by double digits in the non-conference part of the schedule to UConn and Marquette. Remember, Texas started 1-3 in Big 12 play after UCF came to Austin and upset the Longhorns. And you had a few more returners, but still a bunch of guys getting used to playing with each other. Then you beat Baylor at home. You keep improving as the season's gone along. Went to Lubbock, whipped Texas Tech in February. Had a big lead at Baylor, couldn't hold on even later in February. And then from the second round of the NCAA tournament, you're a possession away from upsetting Tennessee in the second round. Just took some time for that cohesiveness to come together last season. And it looks like we're seeing some of that this year, especially after how much they did struggle on Sunday against a very good UConn team. No struggle so far today. When Jason Hooten coached at Tarleton State, they've crossed paths often on the road, and today they'll text or call every few days just to check in with each other.
Yeah, coaching is a tough business. It's good to have friends that are in the business that you can bounce ideas off of, pick you up when you're down, kind of, let you know where he sees in your team and vice versa.
Yeah, RT had a smile on his face as Onyema, the nice spin move. He's in double figures. He had a smile on his face when we mentioned what Jason Hooten said about that game back in 1986. But he wouldn't say he had a bad game, just his squad overall struggled with Ellison that day.
Yeah, he didn't deny it, so must be some truth to it.
Zadie Jackson draws the foul, and free throws coming up. And that's what you'll see. I mean, these are two men, Rodney Terry and Jason Hooten, who have been coaching for such a long time. Of course, Jason Hooten was an assistant at Sam Houston State for Bob Marlin. Bob Marlin moved to Louisiana. 13 seasons head coach in Huntsville for Jason, 261 wins. He's really done everything but be a head coach in the NCAA tournament, and that can happen when you play in these one-bid leagues where, Southland Conference before, WAC, now Conference USA, where it doesn't matter how well you do, you have to win those consecutive games at the conference tournament to make it to the big dance. He has been close, but that has always been his dream, and feels like as he made the move to New Mexico State, it just felt like for as much as he enjoyed Huntsville, he just wanted to be at a school with more of a basketball atmosphere. New Mexico State is basketball first. Sam Houston State is football first. Not that they don't support basketball, but Jason was bringing up to us, we'd have 13,000 at conference games last season, but we were struggling. We didn't really get that in Huntsville. He's proud to be at a program that has had 23 NCAA tournament appearances in its history.
Yeah, New Mexico, the state of New Mexico is a basketball state. I'm from small town Amarillo, and we border New Mexico, and they would come down all the time with great youth teams and compete at a high level. So, the state of New Mexico has always been known, in my opinion, has always been known to have high basketball fans.
When Jason Hooten's Aggies upset New Mexico on Saturday, he said, I got a lot of emails from the community just thanking me and my team for bringing joy to them. He said, including one that said, I've been going through some health issues, my family too, and just that moment to watch you all pull off the upset in Albuquerque gave him a sense of joy he hadn't had in some time. That's how big that rivalry is. It's one of the biggest rivalries in the nation, doesn't get near enough attention. There was actually a goaltending call on that three-pointer by New Mexico that sent the game to overtime, yet Aggies hung in there, and behind Christian Cook and Robert Carpenter's 47 points, they knocked off the Lobos in their first and only meeting of the season. They used to play home and homes every year in non-conference play.
Yeah, that's a big win.
Nice move, Jordan Pope to the
very
rim.
Nice move. That's a big win by New Mexico State, and regardless of the score here tonight, again, this is a good New Mexico State team. Go into the pit and knock off New Mexico, who have beat both USC and UCLA this year, is no easy feat. So
could be showtime here. Kaluma.
Good job by Texas getting out and running in transition. That quick timeout, Coach Terry drew a play up to go inside to Onyema, and they built on that momentum.
Rodney Terry, or rather Jason Hooten, calls timeout as Trey Johnson.
For watching, it takes time. You got to put the time in if you want to be good at anything. And basketball is especially true. It's such a skill sport. You got to do a lot more than just be an athlete. You've got to develop your skills. So it takes time.
He's led or been tied for the team lead in scoring in each game this season coming in, but you can tell that's not his preference. He doesn't mind, of course, being able to put up those points, but he's happy to share the ball and have his team have balanced scoring like they've had today. Arthur Kaluma leading the way with 18, and again, Trey Johnson with 9 so far.
I think he comes off as a kid that wants to win. If you told him he would average, 10 points a game and they go have a chance to win the SEC title and go on deep into the March, I think he'd take that. He's a kid that's aware. He knows that he's going to be, a draft pick in the NBA. And he's a winner. He wants to win.
And almost a certain lottery pick. With Jordan Pope heating up offensively. Pope's now in double figures and 5 of 9 from the floor. One of his best shooting outings of the year. Filipovic. I think that was Cody coming away with the swat.
Trey looked like he came up a little limp.
Handling the basketball, finds Pope from the corner, off balance and off the mark.
Yeah, I think Trey might have tweaked something.
Yeah, he is definitely laboring. Three-pointer on the other end off the mark, and then the follow by Harris won't fall. And yeah, Trey Johnson is still laboring as he comes down the floor. He still wants the basketball, but you can tell he is not 100% after that possession a minute ago. They going to clear out for him here? Double teamed. He'll throw the alley-oop, and Weaver almost got that to fall from 30 feet away. The pretty feed from Johnson. Of Trey Johnson on his way to the Texas locker room. The Texas team hitting 58% from the floor. They're at 63% in the first half. I mentioned again, this is a New Mexico State team coming in, allowing opponents to just hit 38% of their shots, 19th in the nation. Texas efficient from the floor. The most efficient offensive game of the year so far. 75-48 the Longhorn lead as we approach 8 minutes remaining in the second half. Nine to shoot. Cook fades away. Tramon Mark with the rebound. Mark 14 points today, one off his career high in a Longhorn uniform. Nick Cody had his first 2 points as a Longhorn earlier, but unable to control the pass from Weaver and taken away by the Aggies.
I think the pass caught him by surprise. He's got to take that roll and go right up with it.
Jaden Harris for 3, yes. All 8 of his points since halftime.
For Texas right now, it's important for them to go through this stretch, assuming Trey Johnson doesn't come back. What do they look like offensively without him in the game? There's going to be times where, foul trouble, someone, could be hurt, or you got to plan for what it might look like without your star on the floor.
Hayden Shedrick has been fairly quiet offensively, but that drive for a man his size, you don't see that a lot across college basketball. That can be a weapon for Texas offensively, especially in the conference play.
Yeah, it came off his ability to shoot it a little bit, and I think Coach Terry hinted on they'd like to have him make 2 threes a game. And so if he's able to drive bigs that way, that makes him a lot better offensively as well.
Coming in averaging just under 10 points a contest. Still struggling from the line, however. Now 1 of 3, and just 64% from the stripe coming in. I'll be the look on Rodney Terry's face until the final buzzer, despite the score. Texas led by 25 at the break, 52-27. Shedrick makes 1 of 2. Playing his 111th career game tonight. A number of Longhorns with over 100 games in their career. Von Pryor on the floor as he guards Sharon Fun.
Another long guard that they come off the bench with. Athletic.
Sharon Fun challenges Pryor. Rebound into the hands of Edward Namoka. Off balance Cook. Weaver skies for the rebound. Outlet wanting Cody, makes the grab, gets 2 Aggies up in the air and scores.
Little double pump action right there. Great find. Great pass by Weaver. Run the floor by Cody.
What's the potential for Nick Cody? See, number 55 recruit by Rivals, one of the top players in Texas. First 4 points of his career coming tonight.
Yeah, well,
Sheldrick, the layup off the Weaver assist.
That's 2 good passes by Weaver. Yeah, for Cody, for him, it's just finding minutes. You know, earning minutes in practice for him. Kent goes down, so obviously he's got a little more opportunity, but he's got to make his presence felt on the defensive end and then run the floor for Texas. I think they have the box checked offensively for the firepower that they need, but anyone else, if they're to earn any playing time, is going to be on the defensive end.
Swedge Cook will decide to shoot over Sheldrick. Not the best idea. Sheldrick's going to chase down the rebound. Texas with numbers. Sheldrick says, I'll take it myself, and he'll head to the line. But Kendall Weaver showing off his passing ability a moment ago.
Yeah, he's on the receiving end on a good pass from Trey earlier, and he's repaying the favor to all of his other teammates. But with his athleticism, if he's able to be more of a facilitator, that could help Texas tremendously. Usually he's catching it and he's attacking off the dribble for himself, but he's able to slow down, find his teammates. That's it's another little wrinkle that they add to the arsenal.
16 assists for Texas, a squad that didn't get his first assist Sunday until there was under a minute to go in the first half. And just 8 assists overall. So how key has that improvement been, this Longhorn team being able to share the basketball?
It's key. Sharing the basketball, especially when you have so many guys that come in, right, with the transfer portal. It's something that I think coaches all around the country are worried about is how will our team share the ball. And so far tonight, Texas is doing a good job of it. It's going to have to continue as league play approaches.
Jaden Sheldrick's night may be done. Jamie Vincent checks in for the first time, his 6th game of the year. Pryor hangs in the air, but picks up the foul.
A little bit of a collision at the rim. Pryor showing his athletic ability, though. He got up on that one. He went vertical, but the collision was, so hard that it pulled his hands down, so it looked like more of a foul than it was.
Pryor coming off a left ankle injury, his 3rd game of the season. I mentioned a moment ago, Jamie Vincent spent his last 2 seasons at Oak Hill, but is from Austin. He's at St. Michael's his freshman and sophomore year. Stands at 6'11", providing length, but also, of course, being so young, quite raw.
Yeah, he's got tremendous upside, though. One thing you can't teach is size, and he's got plenty of that. So, again, a guy like that, a young fellow like that, you got to find your way, find minutes by playing hard, having a sense of urgency, and earning it on the defensive end.
Mexico State's leading scorer is still in the contest, and there's a foul on the 3-point attempt. Pryor picks this up, and Jaden Harris will go to the line for 3 free throws.
See Coach Terry upset about it, but again, up nearly 30 points, and he's still learning experiences. He's got a lineup out there with guys that so far hadn't got a ton of playing time, but if he can develop even just one of them, it could come in handy once they start to embark on that journey of the SEC.
The look on Rodney Terry's face. He talked about the young players' raw ability, but they're young as well. It's the look I give my kids when they forget to clean the dishes. But certainly this is the response Rodney Terry was looking for. Again, mentioning often to us today, to local media earlier this week. Just want to come out with even more focus, even more urgency. Didn't say that they didn't do that Sunday, but wanted to come out with a better sense of purpose and playing together. They had 4 early assists after just 1 in all of the first half on Sunday. They've been much more impressive, albeit against an opponent not as good as UConn, but a much better team performance overall today.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. You can't play the UConns all the time, and so this is a great test to come out and show what you've been working on, and again try to carry it over from game to game. Not looking ahead past opponents, but you got to get ready for league play.
McCody the rebound and gets fouled off the Jaden Harris miss.
When you look at the guys on the floor, you got Cody and Vincent and Pryor, all three very athletic. These guys are going to be good players going far. The challenge is the challenge is keeping them here, keeping them at Texas, keeping them happy and able to develop their players. I think whatever coach finds out the magic sauce on getting guys a return is, they've got it figured out.
This is the final road game in non-conference play for the Aggies. They'll head home for 5 straight, including their first 2 conference games against 2 of the league's favorites, Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech. Cody and Filipovich tied up, still New Mexico State ball. Jason Hooten's Aggies are running into a buzzsaw in Texas, all Longhorns from the start.
Pounds a game.
How important is it for Arthur Kaluma to be as dominant as he's been today on the boards, especially when Caden Shetrick comes out? This could be a small Texas team, so how much will they need Kaluma to be able to do his work around the glass and not just offensively score?
It's tremendously important, especially when Shetrick goes out. It's very important. But not only him, I think all the guards got to come down and rebound when league play. When any game, all the guards got to come down and rebound. That's always been a rule for Rick Barnes' team. And Coach Terry is a disciple of those guards are going to come down and rebound.
Christian Cook is going to be a tough man to stop come Conference USA play. He's had a strong second half, just drew the end one. 15 points for the senior from Oklahoma City, 3-season All-Conference USA. At 27 in the win at New Mexico on Saturday.
It's a quiet 15, 16 points he's put on. I almost thought he was struggling, but he's put himself together a pretty good game so far. His struggle, again, Texas is very athletic and long, so if he gets into Conference USA, I think it'll open up a little bit more.
Julian Leary misfires from 3. Wind down close to the final 3 minutes at the Moody Center. Leary picks up the foul. This is where it can be challenging for Texas, where obviously they've come out and dominated a solid New Mexico State team from the start, responding to their loss Sunday to UConn. Look, the next 3 are Arkansas, Pine Bluff, New Orleans, and Northwestern State. They're very likely going to win those 3 games, and maybe all of them in dominant fashion. So you've seen one game here where the team has come together offensively, 17 assists, much better ball movement, much more cohesiveness as a group. Now the challenge is to try to do that against opponents, again, that coming in they really should dominate before SEC play begins.
Yeah, that's the challenge. And again, a lot of it depends on how Trey is. How much time is he going to miss? That's one thing that's been hurting Texas all year is they really haven't had a full roster to practice and work on the things they need to work on. And so, you hope that Trey is fine and can get practice reps in. But the good thing about him is he's instant offense. He's a microwave, so it doesn't take him much to get going.
And just joining us a few minutes ago, Trey Johnson looked like he turned his ankle, remained on the floor for a minute after, but then was walking on his own power to the Texas locker room just to check the ankle out. We assumed the ankle based on what we saw on the replay while he was on the floor.
Yeah, I would assume so. I think if it was at first I thought it could have been like a growing pull, a hamstring. I don't think he would have stayed out there long. Something like that. So it's an ankle. Hopefully he can ice it up, rest a little bit, and be ready to roll.
2:54 to go in the second half, and free throws coming for Jamie Vincent. 12 points on the season coming in, and just 26 minutes. Raw talent who began his high school career in Austin before spending 2 seasons at Oak Hill Academy.
Yeah, his biggest challenge is understanding how hard it is you have to work to play at this level. You know, guys that are blessed with that size and athleticism, sometimes they think that you don't have to work as hard, but everyone has a guy like you on their roster, and that guy's going to play hard. So it's important to get on pace to playing at that level.
Filipovic off balance, and then Vincent not expecting the pass. Texas turnover. Julian Larry points at himself, saying, "I should have held on to the basketball."
Yeah, it just got away from him right there. Vincent was open. Ball slipped out of his hand a little bit.
10th Texas turnover. Came in averaging just over 9 a game. Julian Larry dives on the floor, gets the steal. Challenges Cook. Weaver finds Cody. Devon Pryor for 3, got fouled. Free throws coming for the sophomore from Houston. So 3 free throws coming for the sophomore. Ranked as a top 50 small forward in the nation before arriving on the Texas campus. 7 games last year. This is his 3rd of the season. Well, of course, around these parts, focus on football. Texas, one of the 12 teams to make it to the college football playoff. Home game at DKR, taking on the ACC champs Clemson. December the 21st, one of just 3 SEC teams to make it. Of course, Georgia getting the bye after knocking off Texas in overtime in the SEC title game. How far can Coach Sark's Longhorns go?
Well, I don't know, but it's going to be fun to watch. You got, Quinn Ewers is a Texas kid, as well as Cade Klubnik, both Texas kids, and running quarterback for their respective programs. So
well, there they are. Oh, look at the hair on Quinn Ewers there.
Yeah, that's a
high school rivals. Cade, of course, played here in Austin at Westlake, won a state title over Quinn Ewers' South Lake Carroll squad. And now they will go up against each other in the first ever 12-team college football playoff here on December 21st.
Yeah, that playoff is kind of giving March Madness vibes. Anything can happen in football season this year. It hadn't been maybe Oregon have maybe separated themselves, but there's not a juggernaut like in the past Alabama times.
Well, when you look at what Texas will face potentially if they can get by Clemson, Mexico State will have the basketball at 89 seconds left. You have Clemson at home. You win, you take on Arizona State. A team that, people still sleeping on them. I think just because the talk hasn't been as much on the Big 12 and ACC. SEC, Big 10 are better depth-wise. But when you're a champion of a league that's going to be a tough game with Cam Scattaboo and that Arizona State running game if Texas gets there. But that game will be in Atlanta on New Year's Day. Then you get by there, you can take on Oregon or Ohio State potentially, or Tennessee at the Cotton Bowl just 3 hours away in the semifinals. So pro-Texas crowds await, but obviously the Longhorns on the field have to do their part. Oh, no look Larry to Pryor, but nice job by Osborne to slide it out of bounds.
Larry does a great job of passing. He's impressive. Very impressive.
4 years he played at Indiana State. Last year they were one of the best offensive teams in the nation, made it all the way to the finals of the NIT, averaged just under 5 assists a game in the Sycamore uniform. So 102 remaining. Texas wrapping up their 8th win of the season. Devon Pryor catch and shoot for the field goal. So you're not going so far as to predict who's going to win a CFP title?
No, I'm just going to sit back and be a fan and
smart man
and watch as many games as I can.
Well, that Clemson-Texas game, the second of 3, a triple-header on the 21st. Indiana at Notre Dame gets it started Friday night, December 20th. Cole Bott on the floor. Graduate from Highlands Ranch, Colorado, as Christian Cook will go to the line with 42 seconds left. So, summarizing this Texas game, really what Rodney Terry and staff, I think, wanted to see. Came out firing, haven't relinquished this big lead, and about to blow out a New Mexico State team coming off easily its best win of the year.
Yeah, I think they showed a little bit of their offensive identity that they've been working on. And, you know, we didn't even mention Kent that hadn't come back from injury. So, you know, he's another piece of the puzzle there. So, I think they're happy with this game. Again, New Mexico State is a much better team than the score says. They just run into a buzzsaw, playing a team coming off a loss that they felt was, you know, embarrassing, albeit by UConn, but they don't think they gave their best effort.
You're talking about Jason Kent, who has been out with a wrist injury. He is in uniform, but certainly was not expected to play today. But we're told he is progressing nicely, but still no timetable for his return. His teammate at Indiana State, Julian Larry, with it. Now Cody, as Texas will wind this clock down. All Texas, they'll go to 8-2 on the season. Shot clock winding down. Vincent lays it in, and it's 91-67. Arkansas Pine Bluff awaits Sunday, then New Orleans and Northwestern State before SEC play begins January 4th in College Station at Texas A&M. 9.3 seconds left. Just how much can Texas build on this victory starting on Sunday?
Oh, you start with one game, and then you carry it over to the next, and so that's all you can ask for if you're Coach Terry.
Julian Larry will run out the clock, and Texas dominant.